Alright, everyone. So today I've gathered us here today to discuss a very important issue, something that I've been pondering about when I was going to the donation center. So I felt a bit generous today, even though I'm a college student and I may need my expenses. I felt like I should give towards those who are less fortunate, those in deep needs of some cash.
Yeah, I agree.
Yes.
But the problem I find myself in is who should I prioritize more? When I was at this donation center, there was three major groups of people who are part of the less fortunate. That being the orphans, the disabled peoples, the handicaps, and the homeless people, those who can't afford anything in life. So I would like to first ask you, Darren, who do you think we should prioritize more? And why, of course?
First thing come up to me is the handicap, because they were born less fortunate than and than us, because
they have like birth defects.
They have more disadvantage than us, because they were born differently, then I think we should prioritize them more.
Sure. I guess I could also ask, just because they are born differently than us, like what makes them much more special than us?
Because they have more disadvantage in human rights, and then when it comes to education and work possibilities, it's hard for them to get than us who are normal.
Yeah, and I guess I guess we can also add on the fact that it is harder for them to do daily activities compared to the normal healthy human being, like carrying something and all that.
Yeah.
I agree.
But what about you, Ridhwan? What do you think should we prioritize more? Do you agree with Brother Darren here?
Maybe Abu can describe more.
About disabled person, handicaps. I think handicaps is indeed like very important, like
For me,
type of peoples, because because they're very hard to do like daily works, because they doesn't have like part of their bodies, so they might
Bring some comfort
yeah
towards the general public.
But more or less, because I believe, because most of the time when we see a disabled person, we have the moral to help them.
Sure.
So in my opinion, I think that more important people, type of people that is
High in priority.
in my opinion, that is more prioritized, that need help, is homeless people.
Sure.
This is because the homeless people is, they have a lot of stories how they went, homeless. Some of them might be really unfortunate, going into debts that's ended up them going into homeless. Others might get attacked, or might as well being confiscated of their house, maybe from like the government, because of their wrongdoing. But that might say that they have done something bad, but in my opinion, this type of people deserve to get a second chance. So I think that homeless people need to be prioritized to get help more than the handicaps.
So you would agree with the suggestion of using the methodology of rehabilitation, helping the people fix themselves.
Yeah, I agree with that.
How about you, Ridhwan? You raised up your hand just now.
I think, in my point of view, I think the highest priorities for the orphan is most important to the donation.
Okay.
Because in Islam we must prioritize orphan, like in hadith our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and do good to your parents and relative, orphan, and the poor. So that's mean the most prioritized first is parents,
Sure.
and then relative,
Alright.
and the third is orphan.
Okay.
So we must take attention to orphan more than other people, like homeless or what, handicap. Yeah.
I guess I would also like to add
Mhm.
to make your point stronger is, suppose that I wasn't a Muslim or
Yeah.
part of the Islamic religion,
Yeah.
we should prioritize the orphans as well, because they don't have a healthy household. Usually when you are an orphan, you're in a either chaotic
Yes.
household that,
Yes.
that lacks proper loving from both your parents,
Yes.
and of course the police would send you into child care, child custody,
Mhm.
that isn't with your parents, but is with people who take you home as like foster parents.
Yeah.
So those can be considered as orphans. Those people have a lot of mental struggles, and these
Mm.
are usually kids.
Yes.
And we should always show our love and compassion towards kids who are struggling mentally, as
Mm.
they may start to get into things that are questionable, such as the acts of suicide, which is
Yeah, it's
a horrible act, and we want to prevent that.
Can I add up?
Yeah, sure.
After listening to Ridhwan's suggestions, I convinced that orphans is the most important one, because orphans is most of the time the child without the loving care of their original parents.
Mm.
It's very hard for them to grow up.
Yeah.
Just like you said. So it's very important to help the orphans, because the orphans is the child. So when they grow up, they will replace us in the future. So
Indeed.
when they didn't grow up with the loving care
That they so need.
yeah, they deserve, they might end up with very troublesome in the
Yeah.
future.
And without the expenses required, they
Yeah.
might
Like
not be able to
financial to, like what if the father have a what hutang?
Debt.
Debt.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think maybe it's very hard to live when the son or daughter have
Yeah.
a very young age.
And
And-
it's quite a stress cost
Yeah.
on the family.
I think-
Yes.
Before anything, I would actually like to hear more on Darren's
Mm.
point. Do you have any more defense
So-
for the handicap point?
Okay, to think of it, I agree on Ridwan suggestion about the orphans, because many orphans get abandoned by their parents because of, some of them getting abandoned because of some disabilities after birth. So the parents cannot accept the
Disabled child.
the
Yes.
disabled side, so they left the children.
So you
Yeah.
would say that the orphans, including in the groups of orphans, there are handicapped people as well.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you would make a more generalized argument
Mm.
saying that orphans are a branch of
Yeah.
people that can
Yeah.
give. Alright.
Yeah. So to conclude, I think that orphans is the most important one out of the handicapped and also the homeless, because
Indeed.
orphans might lead up to become the homeless and probably become handicapped in the future.
Yeah.
Even if the orphans born like a normal person, but if they don't get enough loving care from the people around them,
They won't see.
they will get in the problem, and the problem might cost them
Yes.
the body parts. So
And-
it's very terrible.
And I would argue as well, if we show great loving care by giving the industries or initiative that tries to help the orphans, if we give them great expenses, which they can use those expenses for great care upon these endangered children, these less fortunate children. I believe it is quite accurate to say that they will grow up doing the same thing for the poor, for the orphans, and for, of course, the handicapped. And I would like to conclude by saying that, of course, all of these groups of people, they need to be prioritized.
Yes.
Of course.
Yeah.
However, the question at hand is which one is the highest in priority, and I think we can all agree that the orphans are the most
Yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah, we can
reliable
agree.
and
Yeah, I think that's it.
Alright,
Yeah.
I think that's it. Thank you guys for this discussion. It was fruitful and charitable.
Yeah.
Okay.
No problem.
Thank you.